Special thanks to these companies for being long-term partners of this channel.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Zach. Here we talk about overlanding gear, builds, DIY, all sorts of stuff related to modifying your vehicle, getting out there and adventuring in the outdoors. Today is not a vehicle modification video, but actually a social media video. I don't plan to make a lot of these, but I've had a lot of requests to make a video like this, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'd heavily recommend you do. I think I post some pretty sweet content. I try to take a more cinematic approach rather than a meme sort of joke approach or TikTok approach. So I think some of my content's pretty cool, and a lot of people want to know how to make similar cinematic reels to what I make on Instagram. And so that's kind of what this video is going to be about. What we're going to do is we're going to go shoot a bit of footage with my iPhone just so that I can show you all that you can do this even with more basic equipment. And then once we have that video, we'll actually come back, we'll bring it into Premiere Pro, and we'll start editing it up. So I realize that all of you may not have Premiere Pro, but if you have a different editing software of interest, you can always use that. It's not necessarily, you know, that Premiere Pro is the best option, but a lot of people that post on Instagram maybe have Lightroom, and if that's the case, then maybe you'll also have access to Premiere Pro. I really like Premiere Pro because if you ever want to start getting more fancy in your edits, you're going to have to probably get a little more sophisticated editing software. So with that being said, let's go shoot some B-roll. Then we'll come back, we'll throw it into Premiere Pro, and we'll start editing it up. So let's jump right into it. I'm gonna run 4K 60 frames per second. And what we're gonna do is, so the truck is all clean, and I just want to start filming some different angles. So I'll explain a little bit later why I use these settings, but mainly the reason is so that it's easier to use in post. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, and we want to use the highest resolution we can. So what we're first gonna do is start here low. I'm gonna lock my elbows close to the vehicle and prevent any shake. I'm gonna hold on my screen here a bit just so that I can. Now this is where a gimbal really comes in handy, but some just basic pans are really nice here. Make sure to constantly be tapping your screen. It's getting everything in focus. Let's get some more interesting shots here. Another thing you need to do is try to not be in the reflection of your vehicle's paint. And then another important thing is try your best to not do too many boring movements. So what we'll try and do is we'll try and kind of create some like interesting pans. So that's probably good enough. Now what we do is you can film anything in reverse, forward, backward, whatever. We can always change the speed and how we edit it in post. So if there's something you feel like you'll do more steadily in reverse, then do it in reverse, and then we can just change it. So I think we got all the footage. Let's jump back in the office and actually edit this up. All right, so we've just filmed all of that video. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the video and I'm going to import it into my computer. So I just select all the videos and airdrop them over to my computer. All right, they are on their way. Open up my hard drive here. Let's make a new folder. I always like to make a folder that's like the year, so 2022. Today was August, the day, and then let's just do parking garage tutorial reel. All right, so jump into here, new folder. I always make a footage folder, and then I'll add audio into this folder as well. Because this video is going up on YouTube, I'm not gonna use your standard Instagram audio because there's a good chance it'll get copyrighted. So for the sake of this video, we're gonna use something off of Epidemic Sound. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's the sound software that I've used since the start of my channel. They make really good audio, or they license really good audio. So let's first just do that. Okay, so I think a lot of you probably like my moodier style edits. So whenever I'm gonna do an edit like that, I typically go and grab a song that's gonna have a really good beat, because that makes it easier for transitions. And then we'll color grade it so that it's darker and a little more moody as well. So let's first jump in here, move my footage over. I've got some screen recorded footage, so that's why I want to move this over quick. Okay, Premiere Pro. Okay, so now I'm going to open up my footage here. We're going to import all of my footage. Also going to import this song. And then we need to make a new sequence. So this is important. A lot of these choices I don't really get too into. I'm still kind of, I'm not a professional, I just like to fake it. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna pick a 16:9, and then this is a 30 frames per second. You could do 24 frames per second as well. Let's do 24 frames per second. That would actually be kind of fun. Okay, and then that's what most people film with anyways. And then we're gonna do 2160 vertical by 3840. Some people say to only do 1080p because they compress your video on Instagram. This is maybe true, so you could just do it in 1080p. I like to do it in 4K in case it gets posted anywhere else. So there we go. We've got our vertical screen set up there. So now I'd like to just take all my footage, toss it on there. We want to keep the existing settings. So what this does is it just takes your video that was 4K 60, turns it into 4K 24 compatible, so it doesn't mess up the speed or anything, but then it will allow us to slow it down or whatever we need to do. Okay, so now the next step is we will put all of our footage on here. I like to put it on in chronological order. I toss it on my timeline here and I just go through it and I cut it all up into segments that I think are cool or are interesting to me. Gotta give the tail light some love. But problem is I'm getting in the reflection of the truck again, so see me right there, so this can't really use. Up. Toss the music on here. Let's figure out where we want. Okay, that's a little loud. It's probably messing up my mic. Try and find where there's a repeated rhythm, so. There's a lot of build-up in this song. We're going to take a lot of that out. So that's pretty good there, but let's see how far. Okay, so this is where you don't. I like how that starts to pick up a little bit more in the song, so I'm gonna try and move that up. See if that sounds okay. Okay, that's probably good. So let's take this over here. Let's zoom in. It's a 15-second reel. That's probably pretty good. 18 seconds. You don't want it to go too long or else people just get bored. I think sometimes I make too longer reels. So let's start with that. So we've got everything clipped up. Let's now kind of figure out the song flow here. Funny enough, your audio is like one of the most important things in the reel, in my opinion. So we kind of figure out how the flow of the song goes or how the audio goes so that we can. So right here is a bass drop. So let's grab our magenta one here. I'm gonna remove all of the audio on these because it was mainly just me talking. This is where you can get really sophisticated and add sound effects, but we won't do that in this one. Okay, so this is where I like to add a speed ramp. So what we do is we go into the effects panel, the effects controls panel, and we go to speed, and then this side we will speed up. And we want that to kind of slowly come down. Now the best part about this is we film this all in 4K 60, and this is 24 frames, so that means we can slow this down to 40% and it's not going to jitter at all. So let's see when we do that. Okay, maybe we could get that a little bit smoother. And so it's gonna We want that to be kind of blurry, but what we'll do is we'll also blend this in so the car will kind of pop up at the bass drop. That's pretty good. Now we want it to change immediately after like another note in the song. So what we're gonna do also is I like to film a few things in the like area that we're filming that are just kind of interesting. So I'm just gonna kind of randomly pull some clips from here. Let's just set this to a consistent slow speed. So we'll do like 50%. So, okay, here's another thing though. I just don't, I like it to feel a little bit smoother when I like it to just be a little smoother, so I'm gonna actually change this. Let's go to the sequence settings. I'm gonna change this to 29.97. Okay. This is at 50%. Could probably speed it up a little bit. The nice thing is with it slower, it'll take out camera shake. So let's do this here. Let's just pull this over. I want to make sure that I started this on the right. So I think that's the spot. Okay, that looks pretty good so far. All right, so we'll line that up with the front, move this all back over. Okay, so got that. This we're also going to slow down, maybe 60%. So I want to just toss in another clip here. Let's find something that's not super revealing about the truck so that when the bass drops, there's a better reveal. I always like using the badge. It's not a bad one. Okay. So this is where the sequence settings, let's do this, 1440 by 2160, oops, 2560, there we go. Okay, so now this is punched in a little bit, so we need to move it out a bit, but now we can center it nicely, so do that. This is way too punched in. If we do 67, that's enough, but let's maybe do 70 and just take advantage of the space there. This, I think we want all the way out. It could also probably be rotated a bit. And if we rotate it, we got to punch in. There. Maybe a little less rotated. Let's see how that looks. Okay, sweet. That looks good. This needs to be zoomed all the way out. Position Let's do that actually, and then punch in a little. Try and center it. So another problem here is this is starting to gross me out a little. We got to get an adjustment layer on here. So the adjustment layer we use so that we can settle down the overexposure. So there's just too many white and highlight tones in here, and I don't know why they're added in, but let's pull this over. So another thing too is probably sharpen this just a teeny bit. Might help with the iPhone video. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's boost the exposure. Okay, this definitely is so washed out. So we want to add some. Gonna add another adjustment layer actually here. This is just to bring some more black into the video. It's just too. There, okay. Still too many highlights, I think. Okay. Sometimes the computer can't render this stuff in real time, so I'm just going to quick render it and make sure it runs smooth. There we go. Okay, so now the next fun part is let's add a little bit of color here. So I use some LUTs that I have from Cody Blue. He has some sweet LUTs, and that's what I typically use for most of my videos. They just typically help a lot. Okay. So some of these can really be contrast heavy, so there. I just don't know why this one is so white. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Let's punch into this a little bit more. position of it. Let's get it a little more centered. Okay. Computer's starting to struggle a little bit because we have so many layers now. It's not gonna run it back in real time. Okay, that's starting to be pretty sick. This, what's the speed on this thing? 60. Let's slow that down a little bit. Render that. So this one here, that's full speed. So if we slow it down and we change it to be like 70, let's check out this clip. That looks pretty clean, I'm not gonna lie. So let's do this here though. It looks good, but we just need to lift the shadows just a little bit. It's maybe too much. Okay. So I don't want this to be too long actually. We've got so many good clips, we don't want to waste all of the song on the lame clips, so let's do this. This is a pretty good one. Let's start just figuring out which clips we want to do in here. This is a good one. This is also a good one. Pull that out of there. A little diode action, that's a good one. Low relation race wheels, that's a good one. Oh yeah, this is the mother load one though. This is also pretty good. This can be towards the end. Also pretty good. It's a pretty mean one. I do like mean looking video. This one might look kind of weird. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, there's too much. This video is too washed out. Well, maybe not. Let's see. Zoom out, move the position of it down a little bit. It's not terrible. We'll see if we can fit it in. Okay. So we start by this. Let's do this here. So if the song goes like, if it jumps like this quick, so it goes, da, 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 we're gonna put a different clip on every single step there. So let's see here. Wheels, then pods, not bad. And then maybe tail lights wherever they went. Pull that out of here for now. Is this the tail? Nope. Is this the tail? Yes, it is. Okay. Okay, we're starting to run out of layers here, so let's pull these up. Right. Okay, let's zoom in here. So that's a cool clip. Let's do this here. Start this right there. These all need to be zoomed out because we changed the scale. So this one, the movement's later on in the clip, so I'm gonna move it there. I don't know why this one is so slow. I'm gonna actually speed this one up a bit. Do that, that. This one we can slow down. Just start with the slowest. This one, since it's so zoomed in, we can center it a bit. This one, like that. This one we can speed ramp a bit. So right there is probably where I want it to start slowing down. So like this side here, we'll speed ramp it. Just want to make sure that some of the speed ramp is actually in the clip. Okay, so that's pretty good. So all I did is for Premiere Pro, you add a point and you can change the speed on either point. This allows you to change the transition, and this allows you to like change how it ramps. So that's all I did. Let's render that again from the start. Man, this clip is sweet. Maybe this is now where we can. So now if we start this here, let's zoom it out a bit. This is where we can have some fun speed ramping. So we'll speed this side up a little bit, then we'll slow this down. And then get right here, and then we'll like speed it back up again. Then maybe slow this back down. I don't know. Let's just kind of play around with it a little bit, see how it looks. This should probably be a little bit faster. There, okay. Let's see how that looks. Okay. Speed ramps are cool, but they need to be more exaggerated. So let's make that really fast. And make the slow down portions a little bit less time. And these look a little jittery, so I don't know why. This one especially, so let's do this. Let's do 80. think this needs to be backed out a bit. There we go. There we go. Okay. Perfect. So what if we Okay, so another thing you can do is, if you're in the film industry especially, if you really start playing around with with videos and like the shapes of everything, you can add these bars and it almost looks like cinematic, and then it's easier to frame in your photos and stuff, and it never looks bad. So what we could do is maybe like that. There. How's that? So we can pull these and we'll make them the entire length of the video. This top shape though, might want to make it a little taller just so that they look like they match. Okay, render the whole thing quick. Let's go. That sounds sweet. Okay, so let's do this. Ooh, actually, maybe we'll leave that zoomed in. That's kind of nice. Go like that, maybe? Let's try this again here. So something I did completely on accident, but it's pretty sweet, is the speed ramps are synced with the audio. And so it's pretty sweet because it speeds up when there's bass drops and slows down. That sometimes happens if you get really lucky. I didn't mean to do that, but that is something you would want to do, is actually sync it with the audio like that. So all right, so that's pretty good. Let's see if we can, like, we almost have no audio left, so let's just figure out of these last clips which ones we want to use. This is a pretty sweet angle here. Let's zoom out of this. I don't know why it's so zoomed in. There, and we want to center it. So what we'll probably do here is actually zoom in. That allows us to center this with the C4 bumper, which will just look cool. It needs to be rotated about a degree, wrong direction. I think that's level. Let's see how that looks. this here. Slow this down as well. That's pretty good. You can kind of see I start to veer off one way, so it's not quite straight back. So then you can just clip it so that it looks better. Okay. This one we want to also step back. What's this clip again? Forget about that one. Let's slow this down to be just kind of like an ending shot of the rig. And this needs to be zoomed out as well. We could zoom in a little more than that. And then center it again. This is moving too fast. The clip seems to almost be speeding up, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, oops. I'm going to add a little bit of speed here just to help with the transition. It's not something you have to do, but it'll look cool. And after all, this is really just about making something that looks cool, so. Speed that up a little bit. Let's try that. All right, how's this thing look from the start? All right, so that's pretty good. So now, let's see here. Now notice I haven't used warp stabilizer on anything. That's a really important point here. So this one is a little bit bouncy, honestly, and let's see what speed we have it at. Oh, that's why we don't have it slowing down nearly early enough. So let's try this again. So I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not the most stable filmer, which is why I really like using a gimbal. Honestly, like warp stabilizer is okay, but it's really not awesome. Like let's do an example of warp stabilizer. So this, we'll zoom out of it and it looks kind of lame because it doesn't have the color grade. We'll throw the color grade on it. Okay, so now, this is actually a pretty sweet one, but that's whatever. Okay, so this, already pretty smooth. Let's see if we've got something a little bit less smooth. How about this? Pretty smooth, but anything this isn't super smooth. Okay, so what we do here is we come up to effects, warp stabilizer, take it, we drop it on the clip. It's going to start analyzing the clip. If you're going to use warp stabilizer, just make sure you adjust it so that it looks good. There are ways in which you can use Go watch this again. So one thing I don't love is this wheel. It needs to be darker. Like, why is this like white? It just doesn't look right. So let's see if we can add some. That's a little better. All right, let's just render this quick. So you can see here there's kind of this weird glitchiness, and like there's a change in autofocus, and it's not necessarily bad, but also you can tell that it was cropped in at spots. So it smooths it out. It looks really smooth, but it kind of plays around with the autofocus. It also sometimes just can make things look a little blurry. So what we could do here is we zoom it out. Just do this quick. Like, it doesn't look bad, but it just doesn't look great either, if you know what I mean. And like this video in particular had some kind of blowout in the background. Like, there's too much white. So I mean, it's not terrible. It maybe caused it to mess up a little bit. It makes it really smooth, but it just doesn't look very good in my opinion. Like, it doesn't look quite right. So that's why, like, all of this, I just like to film with the correct frames per second, and then you can take it all and you can clean it up nicely and edit it appropriately, and then when you export this in the right frame rate, it's gonna look correct. So let's export this, and yeah, you can go check it out on Instagram. I'm gonna have it posted. But that's basically how I edit my reels. It's not super hard. Me talking through it took a lot longer than it probably needed to, but yeah, not super difficult. You will want some sort of software that allows you to do a couple little things. You wouldn't have to use a LUT like I did on the video. You could totally just tweak some of the colors or the saturation, whatever you want to do. There's definitely some, you know, that's the area where it starts to creep into just your creative side. So it doesn't really matter if you do what I do. You know, just do whatever you think looks cool and keep doing that. And you know, it's important to just enjoy the process while you're editing this stuff, and not just edit stuff for the algorithm, because you'll burn out from it. But this is how I edit my reels. I think it turns out pretty sweet. And yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you like what I'm doing, and consider subscribing. Most of my content's not video editing related, but for all of you out there that watch my Instagram content, this is how I do it. and I'll keep on making some sick reels. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.